Hi everybody, welcome to this Wall Street News. US government sold 10-year notes at 4.066%, 0.4 basis points higher than the yield at the bidding deadline. The Federal Reserve released the minutes of the Federal Open Market Committee meeting in September, saying, quote, participants indicated that in their baseline economic outlooks, the labor market would remain solid. According to the CME FedWatch Tool, traders are pricing in an 80% chance for 25 basis point cut in the Federal Open Market Committee meeting in November. 10-year Treasury yield rises to 4.07%. S&P 500 rose 0.71% to a record close on Wednesday. U.S. government sold $39 billion worth of 10-year notes at 4.066%, 0.4 basis points higher than the yield at the bidding deadline, 4.062%. The Federal Reserve released the minutes of the Federal Open Market Committee meeting in September, saying, quote, with regard to the outlook for the labor market, participants noted that further cooling did not appear to be needed to help bring inflation back to 2%. Participants indicated that in their baseline economic outlooks, the labor market would remain solid. For the U.S. economic growth, the minutes said, quote, participants observed that economic activity had continued to expand at a solid pace and highlighted resilient consumption spending. Many participants emphasized that they expected that real GDP would grow at roughly its trend rate over the next few years. When it comes to the monetary policy, the minutes said, quote, in discussing the outlook for monetary policy, participants anticipated that if the data came in about as expected, it would likely be appropriate to move toward a more neutral stance of policy over time. Participants emphasized that it was important to communicate that the recalibration of the stance of policy at this meeting should not be interpreted as evidence of a less favorable economic outlook. Fed officials also discussed QT in September meeting. The minutes said, quote, several participants discussed the importance of communicating that the ongoing reduction in the Federal Reserve's balance sheet could continue for some time, even as the committee reduced its target range for the federal funds rate. After the Fed minutes, according to the CME FedWatch Tool, traders are pricing in an 80% chance to reduce 25 basis points of the federal funds rate and a 19.7% chance to remain at the same rate in the Federal Open Market Committee meeting in November, up from 7.3% on October 7th. 10-year Treasury yield jumped last Friday as the U.S. economy added much more jobs than expected in September. Then it continues to rise above 4%. For the U.S. stocks, S&P 500 rose 0.71% to a record close on Wednesday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average jumped 1.03%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq added 0.6%. Okay, this is the end of today's news. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.